Welcome to the Coffee Break Show. Today on back, we have on tap Cinnamon Alvarez, who is the founder and facilitator of the World Changemakers organization. Today, we're going to be talking about exactly how do you have more confidence? How do you build that muscle? How do you have so much more confidence that you have more achievement, more success, and your dreams actually come to fruition? All right. So, you know, it's going to be a great show. I'll see you guys in a second. You're on the Success Secrets for Business, Family, and Life channel. This is the Coffee Break Show. Cinnamon, welcome back. I'm so happy you're here. You have no idea. I'm so excited.
Woo-hoo! We just love it, right? The energy.
I'm so excited. I love when you're on the show. The last show you did was remarkable, and we had so much feedback that I was like, okay, I need to bring this person back on again. But just like Isabel Tierney is on quarterly, we are now going to have Cinnamon on quarterly. She is one of the founders. She's one of the founders, and she's also she's the head facilitator for the World Changemaker organization. And we'll talk about that again. So to keep you up to date, the World Changemaker organization is this fabulous place. If your vision is big and you don't know where to start, that's where you want to go. World Changemaker organization. Yep. And what I like about this is that quarterly, we're going to bring her on. She's going to share with us just like she's going to share today. And we are going to be talking today about how to build more confidence. And I think that is a specialty you are so excellent at.
Well, and let's tell them why.
Okay.
Why build your confidence?
Because I really start with that. Let's do it.
Because I really believe that the vision never comes to reality. The dream never has life if you don't have that confidence, right? That we're human and we talk ourselves out of things. And I think that building the confidence is the muscle to actual accomplishment. So that's why I think this is a fun topic.
I know. And, you know, confidence comes in so many layers. And yep. I want to unpack all of them. So confidence, to me, one is finding your voice. Because if you're using somebody else's voice, you're inauthentic. So confidence has a level of authenticity with it. It's the ability to find your voice. But why is it necessary to find your voice? Let's go. I know it's going to be half World Changemaker organization conversation and half here's some tips to find your voice. Here's some tips to deepen into confidence. And I want to unpack the first step. Let's say find your voice. And let's say, why is that important? And
what's interesting is I'll just use a different word for the same thing of finding your voice is on my tips of strengthening your confidence muscle. I would say this is live your values.
Yeah.
Not your feelings. So the lack of confidence is when the feelings and the self-doubt and stuff comes up, but the values are our voice. And that's our gift for the world. So if you're not doing that, you're automatically like, you're withholding from all of us and humanity for your gift.
I love that you said that. Say more about the withholding. And also, I want to go back to once you find your values and your voice, because a lot of times what people hear is that inner critic voice. And they don't know how to hear that values voice. How do we hear the values voice?
Yeah, the values voice is more like that spark of inspiration that you're moved, you feel like you're going to make a difference in the world, which is, what World Changemaker is about. That's the voice that we want you to be listening to, is that one that has compassion for humanity, that wants to make a difference, that sees that there's there's change that you can make.
Yeah. Let's go back to the values thing, because I think that's important. If you don't know what your values are, and a lot of people don't, they've not really examined.
Right. You just lose sight.
They want to belong versus actually have their values. So a lot of times, even in politics, some people want to belong so badly that they belong to something that helps them feel like they're with somebody. And that's not values. Tell me a little bit more about what you mean when you talk about values, and
Your values.
how can people get to the core of what they actually hold as valuable for them,
Mhm.
and
Well,
not somebody else's agenda?
and I love how even in your body language, you're talking about it, right? So that I really believe that human beings, we have a lot of similarity. So, for example, we all have an inner critic, but we also have those things that resonate with us that are more meaningful for some reason, maybe life experience or whatever that is. So those core values. So for example, for me, integrity is almost probably number one. It's a big deal for me. So for everyone, integrity is important, but for me, it's like I am willing to fight, cry, like all right.
Yes.
So it's like your most beautiful gifts or what your core values are. And that's what makes you unique and what makes you special and what makes you a contribution to the world. And so that's where it's so important. And you can try them on. I mean, you can look the internet and you're going to find lists and lists and lists and lists of core values. And it's interesting because, Vickie, I believe it does take some work. Like we lose
Yes.
sight of that. Don't just do it once and say, oh, my number one core value is,
I'm
is
so happy.
integrity.
I'm so
Mhm.
happy we're talking about this, because I
Yeah.
know some people hold values that are actually traditions that have been handed down from parent to parent to parent to parent to parent to all the way down. And they're not actually your values, but they're lineage traditions. And what I want to make sure is the thing that you said that was so important. It's about you understanding your values. You said integrity was really big for you. Integrity is super huge.
Mhm.
For that person, everybody thinks integrity is important, but how valuable is it to you? What you also said that I thought was interesting is that the things that you value a lot, you said your gifts are hidden in that. You're it's like those are the gifts of you. And if you don't actually know what you value, then you probably aren't tapping into your gifts. Now, you can have a big vision, because that's what world change makers do. They have huge visions. And part of the reason they are at the World Change Maker organization is because they want help launching that big vision. If you don't know about your values, how can you bring your gifts to those visions? You can't. So, what I want to know, and I thought it was so important that you said that, and I
Mhm.
didn't want to gloss over it because you were like, yeah, your gifts are in there, da da da. But that's a hella important
A-
statement you
And
made.
what you wanted to emphasize too, because sometimes I don't answer your question directly, is the part about the withholding.
Yes.
So I do believe that if you let the feelings part, the self-doubt and some of those things that we get uncomfortable with, stifle those core values, then you're withholding that. So I think we don't want, and I think that ultimately in the meaning of life, like I is this sense of purpose and meaning. And I truly believe that everyone is a gift and that we have those little flavors that make us uber special and they overlap with people, but that it's that. Like I think in our last episode, I talked about how I was criticized before for wearing my heart on my sleeve because passion is
Mhm.
something that's like one of my gifts that comes about. Um, so it's like that. Like you want to keep identifying what is this that makes you such an amazing gift for all of humanity and our communities.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I really
And
think it
core
is.
value, knowing what your core values are, I think is really important.
I think a lot of people are even afraid to embrace, like when you get confident around what makes you special. Because a lot of people, when we grew up, we're told we're not special, that we're average, we're like everyone else, we're not better than anyone else. And to be on the humble, you can't be special,
Right.
And the truth is, everyone is special. everyone is also extraordinary or extraordinary, but extraordinary is the key thing for me, with the hyphen in between the words, so that you can see, I believe that gifts are always that way. Building confidence, I don't think you can build confidence in yourself or another until you have tapped into exactly what you're saying. If you want confidence and you want to build real confidence, you have to tap into those things that you are personally passionate about, that you will go to the mat for, that you think are important to you in your personal self-care, in your personal life. I think all of those things are, confidence. Everybody's like, okay, if you want to be more confident, look in the mirror every day and repeat after me.
Yeah,
And I don't
and
think
not
that
to be
works.
mistaken with ego,
That's right.
right? Or
That's right.
esteem, even. Like we're talking, and when I'm thinking about confidence, I'm thinking about enough to take action,
That's right.
right? What gives you the
Confidence is
confidence
daring.
to jump off the cliff is how I do it.
You do.
Right, I'm a little bit of a white knuckle kind of girl, but again, that's my flavor, right? Not
Yeah.
everybody needs to be love the roller coaster with your arms up in the air, jump off the cliff kind of personality. But I've learned to embrace that that's who I am,
Yeah.
and that's how I make a difference. So
Beautiful.
that's the piece of the confidence, is that, because I believe that you're a gift. I believe that there's something for you to do in your lifetime. So how do you have the courage, confidence? How do you strengthen those muscles? What are those little life hacks to get you to fulfill on that versus withhold and talk yourself out of it? Because everybody has some form of I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
They also have these gifts to bring. So how do we ignite that passion and confidence in you so that you fulfill on it?
And that's the importance right there of the World Changemaker organization. It's like, once you understand that you are going to be daring, just like she said, you're going to be daring. And now you're going to go out into the world with your gift and you're going to use it. You want to surround yourself with like-minded people.
So that's one of my favorite. The whole reason that World Changemaker
That's right.
exists, because my favorite confidence building muscle exercise tip is to lean on your tribe.
That's right.
That's what we all
I love
get.
that.
Right? It's kind of like, if you're going to be a public speaker, do you think that you should never be afraid? No, but you do it anyway. So when you have a tribe to lean on, right?
Yeah.
Then it's okay if you're afraid, but they give you enough confidence to do it anyway.
Cinnamon, you are speaking my language right now. You are speaking my language. The World Changemaker organization is the launch pad for people who are actually want to make a difference in the world, not just their world, but in the world. And they know deep down inside it's calling to them. They know it's there, and they're tired of ignoring that little pounding in your heart and chest. And for those people out there who are ignoring it, I just want to tell you the truth. The pounding never goes away. It never goes away. You will either address it sooner or later. Sooner is better because there's quality of life and more fun. See, God agreed. He said, ding, 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 ding. She was like, oh, I forgot to shut my phone off. It wasn't my phone.
Oh my goodness, stuff happens.
Yeah, that's why
that won't happen again. So we can make this a teachable moment. That I promise you, Vickie, that will not happen again.
No worries. To me, it's like, we're talking about building confidence. Now, here's the thing. Imagine a world where confidence is the standard. And I want to be really clear here. I want to talk, Cinnamon, about, you said earlier, just as we were talking, the difference between confidence and ego, because a lot of egotistical people feel like they're confident when they're really kind of a bully or pushy or narcissistic, and that's not
Right.
confidence. So let's talk about the daring and what confidence really is from that point of view.
Yeah. So for me personally, and it's interesting because there's this like fine line between humility and, versus having enough confidence and skills, they all kind of tie in. And so for me, when I'm coming from a place of genuinely wanting to make a difference, and I'm honoring the piece of me that's yearning to be of contribution, then I've learned to embrace and support that versus I'm better than, the ego is, I'm so tough, I'm so strong, I'm so whatever. I don't how else do you describe it? For me, that's the way it is that,
it's interesting what you said. I always teach people, if you really want to get to the point where you have true confidence, there is no hierarchy. In other words, there are those people you think are more than you, and those people that you think are less than you, and those people that you think are your peers. So I always call it more than, less than, or equal to. And the truth is, that doesn't exist.
right.
You may be having a better streak in the moment of somebody. You may think that there is a moment where you're judging someone else. That's your ego. Confidence doesn't have that judgment. And what it does is listen. It understands that the moment has created this opportunity for you to learn something or be something or do something and make a difference in somebody's life. So if you see somebody who's down on their luck and you give them some money and they're like, thankful, then, you're confident that in that moment, you're not down on your luck. And when you're down on your luck, if somebody gives you some money, it doesn't mean you're horrible, bad, or wrong. You had to take the money. It means it was your turn to receive in that moment because you've done both sides. If you have a friend whose heart is broken and you hug them and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to talk with you and have lunch with you, and they feel better when they're done talking to you. They just feel better and they have a little spark of hope. That point, you have created a bit of confidence in them and confidence in you. And it's just that moment, maybe it's not your turn to have your heart broken, but confidence allows for that person to come back to you when your heart is broken and hug you and talk belief into you as well. Confidence is not something that's one-sided, like I'm always confident. And, confidence is the ability to be present with the moment and dare to make the connection, to jump off the cliff.
Right.
It's dare to act in the moment on the intuition and the knowledge or the message coming through you.
Perfect. Yeah. So to reiterate what some of the things you said is that I think we do fall into, like you said, the ego, the better than or equal to. And that's why I use the word gift, because it's not, it might seem like, oh, I have more of this or less of that. And we compare with each other, but it's not. It's just this unique, we're all special in this unique way that we sometimes lose sight to. And then the confidence piece is a state of being, exactly what you're saying, to act. It's that state of action, right? And so I say for me is acting on the desire to make a difference is how that confidence shows up to me. So there are tricks and hacks that I use to keep pushing me. I'm not always so confident that I'm willing to jump. Sometimes I put other structures in place to push.
Interesting. Say more about these, to say more about what you do. And I gotta hear it.
Yeah, because the spark of inspiration is like the most precious, most valuable, what you can get, right? In spirit. Yes. And so then to me, the obligation in a good, positive way is to act on that. Yeah. So how do you act on that? And so that's where, like, a little thing of just do something, anything to build some momentum, builds that confidence, right? Like if I say, oh, I need to write a book, I'm like, oh no. But I can do something to make sure I'm going to write a book. I can hire a coach. I can set a timer and say I'm going to write 20 minutes a day, even if it's garbage. Like there's lots of things. Sometimes we think we have to make a change. We have to turn the entire world upside down, and we underestimate the microfine adjustment piece.
Ooh, love that. You know, in Joe Vitale, in his book, Money, Love, Speed, he talked about the idea when it comes to you is a gift from the universe. And the action, the impulse to act on it right then, whatever it is, whether it's small, medium, or large action, helps you say to the universe, yes, I want more of this help with this vision, with this thing, this gift from the universe. And the thing is, you were born onto this planet. So I also love you are a gift in this. You are a gift to the planet in this time. You could have been born on the planet in any era. God could have said, okay, it's 1940s and now you're here. You're one of those people that are going to help us, through World War II, or you're going to be here in the 1800s or the 16 or 15 or whatever it is, and maybe you were before, but you're here right now as a gift to the planet. Now, why is that important to understand? Because I want to use the word primordial confidence. That is the confidence that the divine said, Cinnamon's the right person right now to be the founder of the World Changemaker organization. Here's the idea, poof. Now make it manifest. So you're like, okay, the first action, the next action. I want to talk about one thing that I've had so many clients tell me this, and I want to know how we can work through it with more confidence. But have you ever been in a position where you go to some conference and you get all these ideas and you write it down and you're like, I'm going to go home and I'm going to knock this out. I'm going to do this. And then as the weeks go down, they peter out, and they peter out because they don't have their support system in place.
Right.
They don't have anything pushing them. They don't have anyone helping them. And this is part of building confidence. Isn't just getting inspiration. It's not, there has to be, okay, I took an action. Well, I took an action and then I started petering out. What can we do about that for people who peter out? Like I don't do that. I don't know how that happens. And when I talk to people and they're talking to me in coaching sessions, I always am stumped. How does it happen and what do they need?
Yeah. So what I think, so it does happen to me, by the way, just because I facilitate and I think I have gifts to share doesn't mean I'm not human. It happens to me. And I think what it is that there's like all these things, and then there's this sense of overwhelm.
Yeah.
Right. And I think one of the most critical pieces, which is why we have our retreat, which we could talk about, but there's the map from how to get from place A to place B, or that success, that doesn't seem clear, like how to actually get there, I think is one main reason. And the reason I think, Vickie, you may not experience that is because I think you think chronologically in maps that way.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Where for me, I think I'm an artistic person. So I think like a mind map and a brainstorming session, and there's clouds everywhere, and reining it in and getting it organized so that I can actually get from place A to B. That's where I get help to make that happen. So I think that's one of the big things.
That's beautiful right there, what you just said. I know that there are a lot of people who have this, it's pounding in their chest desire, and they don't know where to start. They don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. They just know that this thing won't stop. It won't leave them alone. It's just like, have you ever seen the movie Ghost?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So there's a scene where Whoopi Goldberg is trying to sleep, and Patrick Swayze is singing,
Swayze.
I'm
You're
Henry the
aging us,
Eighth, I
Vickie.
am. Yeah, I know I am, huh? I just did. And we were like, I'm Henry the Eighth, I am. And he just kept singing. She's like, I can't sleep. And he's like, well, you can either do this for me or I've got forever. I can sing to you till, you'll never get any sleep. And she finally is like, all right. There's so many people who feel that right now in this point in history. They're just like, what do I do? How do I start this?
But what about when they do go to sleep and they're numb to it? Because I think that's another thing that happens for people.
That's true.
Right? Is I think that instead of having it nag, the spark of inspiration comes, and then next thing you know, we missed it. We didn't act on it, or we're numbing because that's part of our cultural society. Vickie, I don't know if you remember with my book, because we talked about it, is the pleasures and comforts that the society is telling us about, right? And then we ended up being numb to actually fulfilling on wanting to be great. So there's a lot of things. I think another reason is I think that I like to psychoanalyze, but here's the tricky thing is I can give you all kinds of reasons, but you got to do it anyway. Like, don't believe and be like, oh, that's why, because I don't have a plan, or, oh, that's why, because, right. Because that's why I want to give you the confidence building tips and strengthen that muscle is so you do it anyway. But to answer your question, I think some of the other reasons your clients are coming to you is fear and fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
Like what? So there's the piece of like, I don't know how to make it happen. On a subconscious level, I don't think we're aware of it. I think we get caught up in the overwhelm. And I'm speaking plurally because from my experience. So for anyone listening, you can tell us if you relate or not. I think it's exciting. And then it becomes overwhelming. And then the map and the plan and the how to is missing. And we start to second guess. Right. And I think underneath it, I think on the surface, we think it's because we don't know how. But I think underneath it is what if I'm actually successful? And then you're really in this unknown, like a big giant ocean. And are you going to drown? Like if you just,
that's also why you need World Changemaker. Yes. Right now, if you're a World Changemaker, you need to be around people, because when you hit the success button, I'm going to tell you, people think success is easy once you get there. No, it's more to do. It's like double the work. There's a lot to it. You're right. That's such a good point.
And so, so then we end up numbing and all those other things. Like, I'll just give some confessionals so people know I wear my heart on my sleeve. I had all kinds of limiting beliefs and things that held me back. My brother passed about a year ago. It'll be a year soon. And he was paranoid schizophrenic. I might get emotional. And which is a beautiful thing, by the way, if it comes up for me. if I can leave anybody, I think one of my other gifts is if I can wear my heart on my sleeves is that you learn to embrace the emotion, because that's the part that cares. So my brother was schizophrenic and battled drugs and hospitalization and lived in the streets and on shelters. And I was afraid to be too successful because I thought life wasn't fair and he couldn't. And so I could see where I would like stifle myself.
Wow.
Out of fear that what if I was too great?
Yes. And I know there's so many people. What if I'm too great? What if I'm too great?
Like, who will I
hurt if I become
You're not
successful?
Gandhi. I had that in my head. You're not Gandhi. Like who?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then imagine if all of us don't act on it and don't share the love that we have for each other.
Yeah.
Because we're afraid of being too great or being perceived as being too great.
Yeah. What happens then?
What happens then? I mean, that's for me, one of the things for me is that, like, I've been really taught that, good people are humble people.
Yeah. That's so interesting how, and I want to say, you can be humble and great and uber wealthy. It all rolls into one. It rolls into one when you realize you are of service. If you're on there to prove your self esteem or just because you want to make some money, and there's nothing wrong with just wanting
Right.
to make some money. But for those of you who want to have an impact, who have a very big vision, you're going to need that success. You're going to need that money, and you're going to need that influence that you're growing or having or being. And you're going to need your confidence for that. Now, confidence doesn't mean I feel no fear. Confidence is the ability to move past your fear, the ability to manage your mind. But at your core, you understand that you are a gift. Everyone is. Everyone here is a little spark of the divine. And you can have your first confidence builder be that. Just what Cinnamon shared with you. The first confidence builder is, can you believe that you're a gift? Even if you grew up in a house, they were like, you're a piece of crap. We don't love you. I don't know what you're here. Whether you were beat up, neglected, forgotten, thrown around in the system. This is where I think it's Lisa Nichol who says, let your mess be your message. And so let's talk about having a little bit of confidence in your mess.
Well, so this is how, again, just another word for what you're saying is let go of what other people think.
Yeah.
That's why, is it Frozen? Let it, right? That it's just so, you just got to let go.
I thought I was going to get you to sing. Dang it.
Oh. It's not quite there, Vickie. Almost
later. But anyway, going back to that, because this is a very important thing here that you just said. Letting
go of what other people
think of you.
Yeah.
Or think
of you or how you're going to look. Right. That was what I was talking about with my brother. That example is like, oh, how is that going to look to other people? Even when you were talking about like the better than, like we don't want to be better than, because we don't, in our world, we think that that's how life exists. That we're going up and down. Yeah. Let go of what others think. Another one is to celebrate both your victories and your failures.
Yes. Thank you for that. Yes.
Yeah. Which I'm kind of moving through some of my other tips. Visualizing, right? Being able to sit back and say, okay, well, if I act on the spark of inspiration, like an Olympic athlete, what does it look like? Can you see yourself? And that helps with some of the piece that we were talking about, where I think people get stuck not knowing the roadmap.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Not seeing that it's possible. The voice of I'm not good enough. If you practice those visualization techniques and you can see it.
Yeah, I do that every day. I have to tell you, there's something about what you said that brought up a memory of me. And right now I'm training to ride my bike across the United States. And I'm going with my partner, who is an exceptional athlete. I mean, an exceptional athlete, and has done some of the hardest bike races that are known to mankind. And when I get on the bike, I have to admit, I don't feel like, very confident. And I cannot keep up with this person. I just, not yet. But when I get on there and I'm doing the best, I'm tracking my results, tracking my results for it. And one of the things that she said to me while we were training, which I thought was really important, I realized that I don't know how to eat for long distance on bikes because I never have. I just haven't done that kind of cycling. And she said, well, now the first thing you need to tell yourself is that I eat like an athlete. Now, just say that. And it flipped the script for me. When I went out to order, I was like, is this what an athlete would eat? Is this what an athlete would put into their body? Is this, and I haven't had sugar now for like, I'm going on my second year pretty soon of zero sugar.
Wow.
Because athletes don't eat junk food that is going to harm their body when they're trying to get across the. Now I eat fruit and, stuff like that. I eat that kind of sugar, but candy bars, baked goods, cookies, none, zip, nada.
Don't get me too excited about the difference in carbohydrates there.
Yeah.
I'm a former, not athlete, but I'm a former fitness, 15 years of my life.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I feel like I'm not that now, so that I can really understand what it feels like to be like the people.
But it's interesting that
It's
flipping
very
the
interesting.
flipping the script. And so I was like, yes, I eat like an athlete. So I work like a world change maker. Like I'm proud of being that. I'm proud of being called that. I'd wear the hat, the shirt, the scarf, that whatever, the world change maker, like I think it's Russell Brunson's people that wear the funnel, the funnel hacker
The
shirt.
click funnel.
Yeah, ClickFunnels, the funnel hacker shirts. They call themselves a funnel hacker.
Oh, I'm a funnel hacker.
Yeah. And so the world change maker, oh yeah, I get that. It's like, imagine having, that flip the script in there, and you're saying, okay, I have an inner critic too. Okay, great. You have an inner critic, but you also have an inner winner. And that inner winner is that thing that needs the equal voice. If you're going to listen to your inner critic, fine, listen to it. I don't care. But listen to your inner winner as much as you listen to your inner critic. Just this, it's the same thing, that inner winner. So the inner winner is that person who receives the idea. You can say, oh, my inner winner had an idea come through. It's a gift from the universe. I must be hooked up talking to the universe. Here's the thing I want to do. Here's where I want to make a difference. One of the greatest stories I know about a world change maker comes from the mother of MAD, which is Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. When I went to school, the Mother Against Drunk Drivers daughter went to school at the school I went to. And
Wow.
she was walking up the road. I'd walked home from school 100 times, and she attended school when I attended that school. And I remember when she got hit by the drunk driver and died. And so now this mother has lost their precious child. And instead of crumbling into the ground and being shattered by what happened, like anyone would normally do, she took up the cause of making the world change maker. Drunk driving laws exist all around the world because of that one incident.
Yep. Yeah. The one incident, one person, and taking action.
That's right. That's the whole point of being a world change maker. It doesn't seem, in the beginning, she didn't say, I'm going to change the world drunk driving laws. It was her way of handling her grief at that time. I think confidence comes by acting even when it's the most painful thing you're going through at that time.
Me too.
That painful thing of losing your child to a drunk driver, and the anger she must have felt, not just the anguish, but the anger of going through that. And so confidence doesn't have to feel good. It's not like, oh my God, I have an idea. Yes, I'm on top of the world. Sometimes that idea can feel scary. It can feel painful, like you could be grieving, and still so many 501c3. Sometimes you see something or experience something like possibly animal cruelty, and you get that inspiration inside you that this has got to stop. And first you start with your neighborhood. Now you may have the inner critic. Who do you think you are? You're not Gandhi. But at the same time, when you get that, can we just say, Cinnamon, how can they move it from an idea to something precious? Let's just say, let's move it from hi, it's an idea and inspiration to, let's just say, a precious inspiration, like
To start to
move,
give it life.
to give it, yes. And I like that you visualize it. I like that you take action on it right there. What other tips can we do to
Yeah.
move it into this?
So you take the spark of inspiration and you take action immediately, no matter how small. I think you take action that involves commitment.
Ooh, say more about that.
Yeah. So the sense of obligation or the commitment so that you keep coming back.
Yes.
Or some of us might think of it as accountability.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Right? So it doesn't have to be earth altering, life altering in that moment. It can be very small, but that there's that next level of commitment so that you continue. And that's part of the value of leaning on your tribe, is sometimes you're leaning on them to help you where you might have a weakness to fill in, but you're also picking a tribe that has a listening, an expectation of who you are to fulfill on this. It's really important to build a tribe that sees your potential maybe even bigger than you see it, that expects you to do what you say you're going to do.
Wow, that is so massive. All I know is, mic drop right there. That's important. That's why you circle around that in such a fashion. That just, it's blowing me away that you just said that.
And it's sometimes we get confused with truth, for lack of a better word. We see it show up in life in lots of ways, but then we get confused and it's not effective and we don't know why. Like I saw recently a retreat that the way I interpret it was like, come to this retreat and so you can bump elbows with millionaires. And I'm like, wait a minute. Right? Or we might build a mastermind group of people that are better than we are, thinking like it's going to seep through our pores. Like the way we interpret the law of attraction is that like through association or somehow it's going to happen. And I don't mean to poke fun, really, right? I think they're all valuable, but it's like, who do the people in your life see you as? And some of our closest family members, they see some of our less than great parts, and they might try to talk us out of it because they might not see the possibility for themselves.
Oh yeah, so true.
Right? So when you're building this support, you're building somebody who's going to both see you as capable and see you as your greatest self.
Yes.
And then you're going to build all that tribe, because we don't have all the answers by ourselves.
Oh, so true.
And so they're going to
masterminds exist.
Yeah, that's why I told you earlier that I think like I'm like an artist. Like sometimes it's my best gift. Like I'm an idea machine. I can have ideas, but it is not going to be chronological. It doesn't come out like an outline. So one of my partners is like that. Like she thinks like a corporate spreadsheet, and everything goes into PowerPoint in an instant. And we complement each other, right? Everybody needs that. If you're like me, you need that.
I totally am laughing because, I do have that for my company, but I know what it's like to have the idea. And Robin, who organizes everything just so perfectly, she always says, you run it by me first, because if you start by yourself, you leave dead bodies behind you, you just bold through the, and I'm like,
people are like,
I do have that bull in a china shop entrepreneurship. Let's just go.
People think that my husband is sexy, but it's not that he's 6'5", and it's not that he's handsome. It's that he is a good looking man. He is like a spreadsheet master. What is so sexy? He's my calculator. When I get intimidated and overwhelmed, I'm like, oh no, I have 70,000 lines of data. What do I do with all of this? He's like, oh, that is sexy.
I want you to hear her. This is so important. It's not that confidence says you have all the answers, you know how to do everything. It doesn't. Confidence is just the ability to act in the moment. It doesn't have to be the perfect action. It doesn't have to be the best action. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be the right action. It helps over time if you start taking right action. But in the beginning, there are a couple of do's and don'ts I want to go over. If you get an inspired idea, before you go to your friend's house and go, what do you think of my idea? Don't do that. Write it down. Just write it down for yourself. Keep it inward. It's a newborn baby. You wouldn't take a newborn baby and go, what do you think to my newborn baby? What do you think of my
Touch my baby?
Touch my baby. Touch my, you wouldn't do it. And you wouldn't take it out in public all the time. Here's my baby. You make a nice closed area for it. So confidence building 1A isn't about some type of perfection. That's really, we're looking at this from some of the deepest reasons people don't have confidence is because they keep saying they don't have confidence. So stop saying that. Now, I want to go back to what she said that I think is so important, Cinnamon. You were talking about when you are, and the reason why you want to be in a group of like-minded people that are going to hold you accountable, because everybody in your past knows Vickie Helm 1.0. But they don't know Vickie Helm 2.0. And what happens when you're moving from 1.0, Vickie Helm 1.0, or whatever your name is 1.0, to whatever your name is 2.0, you need support. You need to be in the place where people who are 2.0s are going to hold you to 2.0. If you're going from 2.0 to 3.0, then, and I want to talk about how you do that. You know, Arnold Schwarzenegger. To me, I watched him go from Arnold Schwarzenegger 1.0 to 2.0 to 3.0 to 4.0. And if you look at it, he was a bodybuilder. Then he became a best-selling author. Then he became a movie star. Then he became the governor. I mean, that's 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. You can have more than one big vision.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's, and there's not just, oh, I have one big vision and that's my world change organization. You could be, that's Vickie, the beauty of world change.
I'm so glad that you're saying that, because I think another thing that within our culture and our society that we're taught is that we have one purpose. Spend your whole life trying to find it.
Yeah, I know.
No, just be purposeful in your action.
That's right.
Bring your passion to your action and make a difference. And
that's confidence, by the way. That confidence to me is answering the call, answering the idea, answering the impulse, answering the inspiration. And I
honoring
think
that,
honoring
to me, it really occurs like I'm honoring this part of me that yearns to, like, I give up if I'm going to be successful or not sometimes. Right.
Yeah,
I call it the art of allowing.
Let go of attachment.
You got to let go of the attachment. And I just keep honoring the part of me that I know is the gift that wants to make this difference. Right. Yeah. And then I keep looking at, okay, what's one more next thing I can do? So for me, because I have trouble in the whole map type of a thing. So other than putting the strategic plan, wink, right? We help you do that part. But one of the things that I do in my daily practice is I just say, what's one small thing right now to get me one step closer to the big goal? I don't tell myself I have to have it all mapped out. And then I have a team that helps me put the whole plan together. And then when I'm back in my life, I do one step and one step and one step. And then I lean on my team. We refine the strategy, and then I do one step, one step, one step. That's how I do it.
You actually teach for those of you who are listening right now and you're thinking, I have big dreams. I don't know where to start. I have overwhelm. I'm not good enough. Inner critic, inner critic, inner critic. The World Changemaker organization has a retreat coming up that is going to help you make that alignment. So when you're done with the retreat, they're going to have and I'm going to let her tell you because it's her retreat.
Well, so I'm going to rewind a little. The reason I'm so excited about World Changemaker and our ROI, Raising One's Impact retreat, is because to me, there's nothing more rewarding and fulfilling than giving to givers,
Oh,
making a
yeah.
difference for people who are making a difference. So talk
Yes,
about like the ripple effect
absolutely.
of amazing, like all the things that I think that I can't do it by myself, but I can support people who can do it.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just so excited for all of my fellow world change makers and being the support team behind that.
Yeah.
So go back to your, so what we give in the Raising One's Impact retreat is, it's not even that much of a secret, is we're really using more like a lean business plan canvas. But it's really designed not just for entrepreneurs. Now, I'm an entrepreneur, so I think that every entrepreneur should be focusing on how they make a difference in the world. But
That's
there are
right.
other impact driven leaders who also work for other organizations who make a difference. So in only one weekend, what's so exciting is that we bring fun and play and 3 very different personality facilitators with different strengths.
Mm.
And you will leave in only one weekend with a fully hashed out strategic plan and your next action steps, which I didn't even know, Vickie, when you were talking about, because I was just being in the moment talking to you. When we were talking about like, why do your clients, feel like they're going to fall off or lose it? I didn't know that that's where we're going, but coincidentally, what do I deliver on? Like the piece that I bring in my partnership with my partners is, I said, no, we are not just going to inspire people. No, we're not just going to, no, we're not. We have to have the work done. The
Yes.
plan has to be there. People aren't going to pay if they don't have the deliverables. So I'm so excited. And now it makes sense, right? Because I'm looking at my own weakness as a gift, because filling in for my own weakness delivered what I think is the most valuable gift I can give
It is
anyone.
the most important, because I got to tell you, if you want to build confidence, when you see your plan of action, that builds confidence. Part of having that plan, that know-how, it eliminates the overwhelm. You're more productive. You have more action.
And if you haven't done it before, in business, they say, fail to plan, plan to fail.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember my first business plan. The only reason I got through it is because I found this book that Vickie, you and I probably need to recreate, because I can't find it again. It was a book that was 2-sided, like, in a magazine when you read like one from one side and the other from the other side. So it was like this flip handwritten book with tear out pages.
Wow.
And the one side of the book was the business plan, the organization chart, your corporate structure, your financials. The other side of the business plan was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? How many, what type of hours, what type of team do you want? Do you want to develop a lot of a product or a service? It was very touchy feely. And so what I did is I worked like the analytical side of this business plan. And as soon as I got to the point where I was overwhelmed, I flipped the book over and I worked the really fun, touchy feely part.
Wow.
And it built my confidence because I was still completing my plan, like both pieces of the
Love
plan.
that idea. Love that.
And then I went back.
Sure.
So I went off on a tangent, but
It's okay.
if you haven't done a business plan or a strategic plan or any of this planning to bring your vision to life, or to raise your impact, or to figure out what's next in the chapter of your life, it is so exciting when you see it's not really that hard and it comes together and it is bigger. I promise you, it always is bigger than you imagined going in. And you have strategic partners and you have like all the pieces. It's like, oh. And so we give that to you because I've done it. I know how valuable it is. I'm really committed to giving that to you. If you come and join us at our World Changemaker retreat, you can have fun in a beautiful setting in Southern California, just north of outside in the foresty areas by Julian, San Diego area. And you can do optional meditation, but we work you through each step of the full strategic plan, but having fun doing it. And so you'll have a workbook and all your action steps by the time you're done.
See, and I think that is, I got to tell you how much I like World Changemaker right now. I love it so much that if I wasn't CEOing 4 companies right now, I would be pitching them to be on their founders team. That's how important it is, because it's like all success and all confidence starts with being able to address a few things about you. One is that you're a gift. One is that when the idea comes, you got to take an action. The other is if you feel overwhelmed around it, relax. There has to be a solution. If you're moving from 1.0 to 2.0, you want to have a support system and a support organization. This is just the first part of it. You have to get that. Here's my plan. Here's this. Here's who I want to be, you 2.0. Now, not just for entrepreneurs, but you 2.0. What's important to you, what you want to do, all of these things. I don't make any money on the coffee break show from affiliate sales from anyone, whether I don't care what guest it is on, because I think that that is a conflict of interest. And I want my audience to know that when I invite the best experts in the world, it's because they have proven that they're the best experts in the world. And I can assure you that the World Changemaker organization, that ROI retreat, has the best experts in the world. And we're talking about being able to sit down and put together a dream brought into reality to make that manifest. Once you do that the amount of confidence you will grow in yourself that's how you flip the script. It's the doing it by yourself or feeling limited. That's what harms success. So in this, the World Changemaker organization, those are the kinds of places that it's going to grow all over the world. Once you start understanding that you are not alone, it's like, a football team gathers together and everybody on the football team has a certain gift. One's the kicker, one's the quarterback, one's the blocker. But together, it changes the game into their favor, going back and forth. It's the same with World Changemakers. The issue is there's no place for them to land. And we're not talking about something like BNI. BNI is a great organization, but it's for entrepreneurs only. The World Changemakers are for people who want 501c3s, people who want to have more impact, people who want to make a difference, B Corps, everything. This is about making a change, having impact in the world. And if you know you're supposed to do it, just go to the ROI retreat.
And what's so exciting is it is a product of me taking my own advice.
Yeah.
It really is that, first about 5 years ago, published a book called Generating Your Own Happiness.
Yeah.
And ever since, it's like, oh man, I can't say I don't know how anymore. Like I really went into it like, oh no. But what I really got out of the whole book writing experience and the message is that when you are given that spark and that gift, to honor that.
That's right.
And to bring it to life. And so World Changemaker and the RO Retreat is really a result of my doing exactly that. I was doing, and I highly recommend considering doing it or not, the retreat. But here's my challenge is that I recommend you taking out a pencil and paper and doing a visualization for your own confidence, but really just imagine the world like you would like it to look. And so I did that. I wrote down, imagine a world where, and I drew a blank line. And every day I just kept pondering, like, what do I have at this stage of my life? What have I accomplished? My skills? What are my unique characteristics and gifts that I have to give back? How do I think I can make an impact and raise my impact? And what would the world look like?
Amazing.
And this is a result of that. It's living inside of, and my partners and I have very similar overall big visions right, of what our core values and what we think our gifts are. So my slightly unique twist is that ultimately this fits into my obsession and my commitment to social entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
I am committed that all businesses, as many as I can influence, are coming from a place of really understanding that they make a difference in the world. And I'm also coming from a place knowing that we spend more of our life working, most of us, than anything else.
Yeah.
And that I really want everyone to know that the work we do makes a difference.
Yes.
The goal to me is not to work less. And I'm not saying neglect your family by any means at all, but I want it to all be meaningful. If I'm at home, that's my dog in the background. She's like, I know, Mama, you tell me all the time.
I know I make a difference.
But even as something like, that's my dog in the background, she's like getting extra anxious because I left her in the office with me here. But even when I'm with her, I'm doing it full out. Like I'm even intentional in that. Like, I just want you to know I love you. I want you to know I have appreciation for you. So that's what I want out of the world, is I want people to be fulfilled. I want them to experience their own confidence that they matter. I want people who are reminding other people that they matter and they make a difference. And so I don't know. You could tell I'm really passionate, Vickie.
When you live from that passion, you have entered living from confidence, not trying to find it. So living from confidence is the most empowering quality of life there is. Now, whatever version you are right now, 1.0, 2.0, or 3.0, in the World Changemaker organization, in the retreat coming up, you can take passion and purpose and create prosperity with it as well. I want to thank everybody for being on the Coffee Break Show today. I promise, because I know you guys will be like, when's Cinnamon coming back? She's coming back quarterly, just like Tierney does. Thank you for being on the show today. This has been
Thank you for listening, everyone.
Thank you. This has been the Coffee Break Show. We bring the best experts from around the world so that you can have a great quality of life. I will see you next Wednesday. See you guys later. Bye-bye.